Ahora, perdonad, pero esta sesión la moderaré en inglés por nuestro amigo Matija. Okay, so I will moderate in English now. I hope all of you understand English, because Matija comes from the University of Oslo, so his Spanish is as good as our Norwegian. So we are going to present together two interesting projects that I've been chasing, pushing, and pulling around since 2006 or 7, when I was introduced to the diploma supplement for the European space, higher education space. And finally, all these things we've been doing around Terina, Eunice, and lots of groups active all around Europe, they are now crystallizing in two very interesting projects. One of them is EMREX, which is a project he will explain better. It's a project between mostly the Nordic countries plus Poland and I think it's Italy, right? And then a bigger one that is Erasmus without papers. I was part of that consortium, but I became associated partner because the Commission wanted to reduce the consortium. We have everyone on board, and then they wanted to reduce the consortium. And Matija is one of the technical minds behind those two projects. So probably Matija will feed our techie brains and keep us connected to the ground and to programming and all those interesting things we do in IT. So Matija, the floor is yours.
Oh, it works. Okay. So my name is Matija Puzar. I come from University of Oslo. First of all, I would like to thank you for inviting me to this crash course in Spanish. Unfortunately, it's still too early, so the presentation will be given in English now. Very short about myself. About 13 years ago, I moved from a nice small city of Pula in Croatia to Oslo, which means that I moved from this to that. And yes, this is a car, after 2 days maybe of not cleaning it. So you probably ask, why did I do that? And about half of every year, I'm asking myself the same. But anyway, I work in an organization called EFSAT so far. It's an organization kind of directly under the Ministry of Education and Research, but we are administratively connected to the University of Oslo, so they make sure that we have a salary and a place to work, but we have a board which is appointed by the ministry, which means that we make systems for the whole country. And the University of Oslo is just one of the institutions we work for. So we have a national student database. We are in a quite unique position, and that allows us to make a lot of processes much simpler than it would be otherwise. So we manage the national admission system, the diploma registry, exclusion registry. When some students try to cheat, then they are put into that registry, and all that is bound in the law of, in the education law, I think. And then we have the National Register for Recognition of Higher Education from other countries. This is a very complicated picture, but in the middle there is the FS database, and then all the systems that gather data through it, or the FS then also sends reports, for example, to the National Loan, Student Loan Fund. So student mobility. Earlier, it was a quite painful thing, or it still is. And there were a lot of local processes that needed to be coordinated, first locally and then on a national level, and now even on the international level. And it's always been hard to try to make these things work. Here you can see how the process used to be. Every summer before the next semester, a lot of people were working on the papers and making sure that students got admitted to their university and stuff. And if you have a look, you can see that who was doing the work? Women. And men were just looking. The idea is that all these people should be able now to have a summer vacation, and also the students should be able to have a summer vacation. That's why we try to digitalize all these processes. Their student information systems are located in all the institutions who are part of these processes. So where do these information systems come into picture? The student mobility has to be, in a way, part of the student information system, if not a part of it, but at least some kind of integration. There has to be some kind of integration. And we started working with other Nordic countries a while ago, and now this collaboration is being widened around Europe. And where do students then come into the picture? Well, this is the student who has just realized how much paperwork there will be just to get into this process. And after the student has realized this, it's just, okay, now this is too much. And this is an actual picture of a student who gathered all the papers necessary just to go abroad for half a year or so. So during the last years, there has been a lot of standardization going on, both on national and international levels. And to get a little bit more technical, there has been a lot of work to develop metadata for learning opportunities and for European learner mobility. And what we try to use in our systems is XML schema, which is developed for exactly this. And it allows for results and diploma supplements and basically the whole recognition process. And it's an ongoing work, yeah. So this schema is called Elmo, and it's being now widely used. At least we are using it also inside the Norwegian border to exchange data. And now we are starting to use it across borders as well. There have been a lot of projects to support student mobility, and the latest ones are Erasmus Without Paper and EMREX, which I will show very briefly. The main point of Erasmus Without Paper is to define an electronic EVP network to support the exchange of student data. And the idea is to build connectors which will be able to, which will allow institutions who want to join them just to use them, or with bigger or smaller needs for change. It really depends on how your local student systems are done. These are some official long-term aims. As I am a technical person, I will not go into that too much. And as Victoriano also mentioned, there are a lot of partners in this project. These are the official partners, and then there are other consortium members, and then University of Málaga is here. So it's quite big, and it's very, I wouldn't say optimistic, but ambitious. we do believe that it will work. So the project has defined 3 main phases for a standard user scenario. And all of these things need to be addressed and specified, and yeah. So this is what we are working on now. We are trying to define the architecture, the data standards, the data model, the data dictionary. Things are called differently in different countries, and the idea is to get a working prototype before the end of the project. So far we managed to make an initial data model for the learning agreement, and you can see the learning agreement is in the middle, and then everything is specified. The person itself, or the student, or the institution that are part of it, and then even the learning opportunities, results, and so on. Here is a basic flow of data. It's still under construction. The idea is that, I can show it here, there is a central registry which takes care of all the APIs that are available, and every host has its manifest in which it says which APIs are available. So when another host wants to do something, then they check in the registry, and then they contact the other host directly. So this was Erasmus without paper. It's still new. It's still very much ongoing with regards both to architecture and data standards and everything. So it started beginning of this year. Yeah. Then we have EMREX, which has been going on for almost 2 years now. It is kind of smaller part of what could be integrated into Erasmus without paper. EMREX takes care of transferring the actual records, the results of the students who have been abroad. And the idea is basically the same, just to make things very much easier for both students and the study administration. So last year we were planning and specifying and developing, and this year in January we started a 1-year trial, field trial, where I think 4 of the 6 countries have implemented the system, and actual students are now being asked to try to fetch their results from abroad. And next year we will do some evaluation. But the idea is that, at least in Norway, we like the system. So even if the project doesn't continue afterwards, we will still try to continue using the things that we have developed, because it really helps. So to get a bit more technical, it is quite simple how EMREX works. There is a client. A client can be, in our case, let's say that a Norwegian student attended some courses in Poland, and then the Norwegian student came back. We have a web application called Student Web, where the student can log in, check their results, apply for exams, and so on. And in this Student Web, this is the client. We have implemented the possibility for the student to fetch results from, let's say, Poland. There is a central, again, a central registry, which is called EMREG, which has a list of all the institutions who provide results. So anyone can fetch results without needing to register anywhere, but only those who are approved and registered in the central registry can deliver results. And that is because all the results are digitally signed, and the public key is stored in the registry. So the student logs into the Norwegian, let's say, Student Web, and then chooses, oh, I want to go to Poland to get my results. Then the student gets to the Polish site where they need to log in again. So the first part was that the student had to log in the Norwegian one, and now they have to log in the Polish one. And then the Polish system fetches the results, shows to the student, and then the student says, okay, I want to transfer these results. He or she clicks, and then the results are transferred back to Norway using the previously mentioned ELMO standard. So this is just what I explained. When it comes to security, so yeah, it has to be so that the student needs to log in at both sites. The possible problem is that students might want to ask a friend to get their results from, let's say, Poland, because those results are better, and then import them into his or her Norwegian registry. So we need to do some kind of validation of who is asking for the results and whose results these are actually. And as I said, anyone can join EMREX. If any of your university wants to try it, it's really simple. We have developed a plugin, it's developed in Java. And this plugin has the connection to the central registry, so all you need to do is send one post request and then be able to interpret the XML file which is given to you. And inside the XML file there is also PDF representation to be able to see it. If you don't want to mess with XML, you can just take the PDF out of it and do with it whatever you want. And you skip a lot of paperwork in both directions, and it's digitally signed. So the point is that now the student is very happy and the administration is happy, and they can go to vacations. So this was a presentation. If I have time.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah.
You can take 5 minutes or
yeah.
even 8 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes just to show a live demo. It always goes well, as you technical people know. How do I get a browser? There's a browser. So let's see. So this is our test server in Norway. This is the student web that I was talking about. And as I said before, it needs to have a secure login, which means that we choose to log in as Regina. This was very secure. And now Regina is inside. She can start the registration process. Here there are some things that will be happening, and she hasn't registered, so it's really critical. We can actually change to English. But it's the same, yeah. So anyway, she wants to go to her results. And these are her results both from Norway and abroad. And down there, you can see everything, yeah. Down there she can import results from abroad, hopefully. So this is explanation of what EMREX is and so on. And we can choose Poland. And in Poland there are 3 demo universities, and she has been attending Demo University 1. So we go there and hope for the best. Or why Is the Polish side giving me a Spanish or
Because
something?
they are using CAS,
Ugh.
CAS, so it's the CAS that's translating.
See? Okay. And the Polish are really into security, so I have to log in twice. And the password is the same. So, there she is. And those are her records. She wants to transfer these 4. She understands the warnings and wants to continue. And surprisingly enough, it worked. Now we have all of her results inside our Norwegian student web with all the points and everything, and then we could import the results, but I've done it before, so I will not do it now. So this is how it works. And yeah, that's it.
So,
Thank you.
we had a live demo that worked. As all of us know, this is not so common.
Yeah.
So, and probably those of you that were in Canary Island, in Tenerife, this November, when I was talking about these projects in the Red Iris meeting, you remember that I showed a short film of how this happened in paper. If not, I have it in my laptop, so if you want to see that part of Abercia Español, I will show it to you, and you will see how it happens. So I think that you've done a great work, because you've seen it works. And it's been in two countries at the same time, from a third country. So it works. And the problem is not so, they have required 2 logins, because probably they are using FEIDE, which is the equivalent of our Spanish SIR in Norway, and the Polish do not have EduGain connectivity. Their federation is too much behind the rest of Europe. So probably if they were using EduGain, there will no need for the double login, right?
There might be, because we still don't know how to identify the students across borders, because there are different IDs that the students have yet.
Have you been talking to the Stork
Yes.
2 people?
So
right.
we are working on that.
We are on track.
We are on track.
So, do you have any questions from the room? I will translate them into English if you want to ask any question in Spanish. Os lo digo en español, si hacéis alguna pregunta en español no hay ningún problema, yo se la traduzco al inglés. Tanto mi noruego como mi croata son bastante malos, entonces no podría traducirla. O sea, si alguien tiene una pregunta, y si no, le damos un aplausazo a Matija, porque nos ha puesto otra vez en hora, ¿eh? Ha sido, you've put the session on track again. We're perfectly on track, so you deserve a big applause or questions from the room. A la 1, a las 2, a las 3, aplauso.